Okay, I'm going to demonstrate making a basic chassis from scratch. So, first thing is new assembly. And we're not going to insert any parts into it yet. First thing that we're going to do is look at the top plane here. And we're going to make a sketch in the assembly. Not in a part, but in the assembly. And this sketch here is going to set the dimensions for the drive base. So I'm going to go center rectangle tool so that I can put the first point of that rectangle at the origin. This is important because then the parts would move around otherwise when you change dimensions. So I'm going to sketch a rectangle and I'm going to call the sample dimensions for this. We can always change them. 26 by 27. Alright, and that's all in this. Notice that everything went black here. The sketch is fully defined. We didn't need anything else in order to make this a fully defined sketch because we sketched the center at the origin and then dimensions. So exit sketch. And I'm actually going to name this right now because it's important and we're going to refer to it a few times. So this is going to be frame perimeter. So we have a sketch that is on the top plane. And this top plane in here is really going to be our ground plane. The chassis is going to be sitting on that. If it was sitting on its wheels on the ground, that's what the ground plane will be. And this is also important because it means that you know what the ground reference is. If you need to take a measurement, you'll be able to do that. So next thing is, I'm going to get the Swerve modules. We're going to put those in next. I know there's no tubes or anything, but we're going to put the Swerve modules in next. So I'm going to go to the standard parts library we've been building. Going to go to the SDS folder. There's only the Mark IV-I in there right now. And down here, I'm going to click on the filter for assemblies so that it only shows assemblies. It makes it a lot easier to find the Swerve module in this folder with a billion parts. So that's what we're looking for. And the reason why I'm opening this, yes. The reason why I'm opening this is just so that it's easier to put it in there a few times. So that looks like what we want. This is the simplified version. Does not have as much stuff going on. So then we go to assembly, insert components, and the open document of the Swerve module comes up. So I'm going to put 4 of these in. Well, I'll just put 1 in. We'll do copy with mates. So 1 Swerve module in. And the first thing that we want to do, the Swerve module, if you look at it, its 3 planes are to a corner. So the ground plane, if you look at it from this direction, for example, the ground plane is where the wheel hits the ground. It's either the front or the right plane there. So the front plane is on this side of it, on this face, and the right plane is on this face. That can be useful in certain circumstances. So, but for right now, we're just going to make the top plane to the top plane of the assembly. So I'm over here in the feature tree, drop down on the Swerve module, top plane of the Swerve module, top plane of the assembly, and just a quick shortcut for mating those two. Made them coincident. Oh, because it was the first component in the assembly, it fixed that component. So I want to go into the drop down here, say float. Now this will move around. Now we can mate this into place. So hit mate, do the drop down, top plane of Swerve module. Coincident? Good. And now, no matter where I move this, it's not going to go up or down. It's only going to go, left, right in the plane, left, right, forward, back in the planes. So, okay. Next thing I'm going to do is we could go ahead, put 4 in, make that mate for all of them, or we can do the shortcut. It's a tool called Copy with Mates. So you right click on the component, you come down here to Copy with Mates. And what it allows you to do is if you've put something in, if you've mated something to an assembly and you have like 2 or 3 standard surfaces, you don't have to reselect those on the part at the same time. You may have to reselect where they're going to, but you don't have to reselect them on the part. In this case, we actually can say just make that same mate. There's this repeat button here. If you wanted to choose a different top plane for the assembly top plane to be mated to, you could choose it here, but we're just going to click repeat. And that means that it's going to put in another Swerve module with the top plane mated the same way. We can just click the check mark a few more times, and now we've got 4 Swerve modules. So we're done. Hit the X button here. Oops. Let's do that one more time. Copy with mates. Next. Repeat. Check. X. I always forget copy with mates wants to show you where it's going to put the next one afterwards. So we'll move these to where we want them to be. So this one I think is going to be, this is the front of the chassis over here. We'll designate that in a moment. And we'll do one there, one here, one there. So our next step is to actually turn these into something that looks like a chassis. And in order to do that, we'll come back in, we'll get the front, actually we'll get the right plane of this Swerve module. And where's the next one? The front plane of this Swerve module. And we're going to stick those together, and this is going to be the front of the chassis. So mate. So those are connected. Those are coincident now. That's good. We'll skip the first Swerve module here. Go to the second one, grab its right plane. Come down to the next Swerve module here. Nope, not this one. Front plane of this one. Right plane of this one to the front plane of the next one. That's backwards now. Flip the mate. And then we'll go right plane of this one back to our first one. All right. We can exit mate for a moment. And now you'll see we have kind of a funny chassis going on here. It's off at an angle, but the 4 pieces are mated to each other. If you look from the top, they are mated in a rectangle to each other, which is good. That's what we want. So our next step is to just make that line up with this square that we drew. For that, you can come up to the right plane here and this line, mate those. And we'll do front plane and this line. And now this Swerve module here is fixed into this corner. So we can do the same thing for this one over here, and that should pull everything into alignment. So you go front plane here, this one there, right plane, that one there. And now if I look from above here, the swerve modules are on that rectangle. And if I were to adjust the dimensions of this rectangle, we'll go from 27 down to 25. There we go. Swerve modules have realigned to the new dimensions that we gave for the chassis. All right, that's step one.